changes our thing. The week ends, the week begins. She thinks we look at each other, wondering what the other is thinking, but we never say a thing. And these crimes between us grow deeper. Exchange, no time to exchange when all the little lamps are marching, red and black and timber waving. They all do it the same. They all do it the same way. Counting down the tempting my thoughts about sweet tooth tortured by weight loss. Program a cup, shame the corners of loose end, cat, cat, on the fence, could not to a fan, cat, take these chances, place them in the box until they quiet their time, lights down, you're up and
I got a feeling that tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. A feeling that tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. Tonight's the night, let's live it up. I do it and do it and do it. Let's live it up and do it and do it and do it, do it, do it. Let's do it, let's do it, let's do it. 'Cause I got a feeling that tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. A feeling that tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight.
And then we'll do it again.
Let's do it, let's do it, let's do it, let's do it, and do it, and do it. Let's live it up and do it, and do it, and do it, do it, do it. Let's do it, let's do it, let's do it, do it, do it, do it. Here